2020, I was living in Portland, Oregon, and I watched my own city get filled with plumes of CS and OC spray, and it sparked a lot of conversations for people nationwide around gas masks for the everyday civilian. One of the problems, though, is that whenever you wander through the internet, there are a slew of people who have different bits of information around CBRN or defeating allergies or OC spray and CS. So what are the actual truths behind gas masks for the common individual?
Today, we are simply making the video we wish someone would have made for us. The average Joe, the average everyday civilian. We're gonna be talking about everything you need to know about gas masks, and then a little bit more. We're gonna talk about some myths, what is snake oil, what is not, and of course, we're going to gas ourselves for science and for your entertainment. So let's get into it. Let's start with the masks. We have two major brands. We have Avon masks and Mira masks. They're two of the most popular options. Both sets of masks I've personally owned and spent my own money on. And then with both brands, we've also had samples sent to us from both brands for free. So I've spent my own money on some of them, and some of them we've got for free. Just full disclosure. So this is the FM50. This is a very popular, cool looking mask from Avon Protection. This does take proprietary filters, which we'll talk more about later, but it is commonly known as the Bulldog.
The C50, which is much like that FM50, the only difference is that it takes a standard 40mm NATO filter. So it is a common filtration system that you can find pretty much anywhere where someone is using a gas mask. Next, we have an NH15 escape hood from Avon Protection, and this is a newer product from them. It is not designed to be a lifetime gas mask where you can change out filters all the time. It is a cheaper option if you just want something to stow in a bag or in your car. Pull it on, tie it down, and get out of whatever scenario that you have.
So next we have the Mira safety masks. The first one we have is the CM7M. This is a very popular option and widely used throughout the world. I like this one a lot. I've had a lot of experience with this shooting, LARPing on the flat range. And then we have the newer CM8M, which combines a lot of the features of the 7 and the 6, which we're not using today, into one package. Both of these options also take the standard 40mm NATO filters that you can find just about anywhere.
Masks are really cool, and obviously there are different quality masks, but a mask is just a face condom unless you actually have a filter, letting some of the air through, but less than you typically would have. Use that analogy as you may. The filter is what is removing the concerning particulates in the air. So let's briefly talk about filters as a whole, what they're good for, and what they cost.
The Avon FM50 mask takes proprietary FM61 EU CBRN filters. CBRN means chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear, which means that this filter pretty much covers everything you could possibly come across. They come in sets of 2 for $53, has a 10-year shelf life, and last quite a long time depending on the type of agent or the type of chemical or particulate that you're coming into contact with. Anything from 20 minutes to 24 hours.
This filter is the CTC F50 from Avon Protection, and this is probably the one that you as a civilian going in downtown Portland are going to be considering the most. So this one is specifically designed to defeat OC and CS spray for up to 24 hours. It has a small humidity indicator on the front, so if you go up to a mirror or someone else in your crew notices that goes from white to blue, you do have an indicator telling you that it's starting to degrade and you should probably swap that filter out. If it's just stored in its packaging, it does have a 5.5-year shelf life. And it's also worth noting that this doesn't just defeat CS and OC, it will also defeat all of your fungus and spores and biological things, as well as radioactive concerns.
Spores.
So this bad boy is the CBRN CF50. This is the heaviest 40mm filter that Avon makes. And it's designed to do kind of like Drew's just about everything. It will do all of your CBRN, ticks and TIMs, CS and OC, all of those concerns, but it is $74 a pop. So not a bad idea to have one of these around, but it's also not something that I would stock up on hundreds of these just because I can't afford it. It's a great filter, but it's heavy and it is expensive. All right, this little guy is the CFP100. P obviously stands for particulate filter. This one will do all of your allergies or dust. Maybe you have a cement truck that overturned and there's a bunch of powder up in the air. This is going to do a great job of actually stopping heavy particulates that you can see floating out in the air. Time lapse on this one, how long will it actually survive on your mask? It depends on what it is that you're trying to defeat and how heavy it is that you're trying to breathe through a little filter like this. Now this one's pretty cheap. This one comes in at $23.40. This one is a GPC F50. This is another 40 millimeter from Avon Protection. This one does your blister agents, blood, nerve, as well as riot control. This one comes in at $58 a pop. It does have mill packaging, kind of that green packaging that you saw on Drew's filters. The reading that I've done, this is probably what they're actually issuing to most people. It's a little bit more compact, but it is a bit more expensive.
From Mira, we have the MBC 77 Soft CBRN filter. It has a 20-year shelf life, comes in at 80 bucks, handles just about everything, including CBRN agents, and it is 40 millimeter standard NATO threading. Next, we have the MBC 17 Soft CBRN filter. It is also 40 millimeter NATO threaded, has a 10-year shelf life, and costs 50 bucks. We also have the Mira Pecan Compact, or the Pecan C, which is a very lightweight option. Comes in at $40, has a 10-year shelf life, and handles CS and CR gases. It's not a full CBRN filter, but your popular CS gas, it can handle very well.
So the filters for these NH15 escape hoods actually come built into the mask itself, and they're non-replaceable. Again, the idea is a one-time use. So what do the filters actually do? Well, they will range in durability and lifespan between 20 minutes to 150 minutes. That kind of depends on if you're trying to battle ammonia or hydrogen sulfide. But the purpose for this hood is to don it and get the heck out of there. All right, another note on filters as a whole. Both of these are particulate filters. So you could probably buy something like this at Home Depot, like this 3M, which is just defeating dust and things that you can actually see in the air. But the filter itself on this Avon has a concave scoop under the threading that would go onto your mask, whereas something like this one from 3M is actually convex. It is standing off and creating more distance away from the mask. So one of the upsides to that is if you are running an Avon, it is going to be, when screwed into your mask, a lot tighter and closer, and thus not having a grab hand or simple handle that someone else can grab onto your mask or maybe get your rifle sling caught up in. So this may also cause Avon filters to not play very well with some other masks, just depending on how it's designed. Hey, before we carry on, we have to thank some of our sponsors of this specific episode. Oh, dude. Our sponsors are...
This is gonna be the fastest ad read ever.
The Sonoran Desert Institute. They offer classes for gunsmithing.
Gunsmithing and all things doing things with your guns. You should hit them up.
Next, we have Steel Industries. If you guys are interested in night vision,
Night Vision, you got a discount code on all items that are not already on sale in the description.
and before you buy night vision, you should make sure that you have white lights on all of your equipment. But your white lights need to be covered if you're worried about other people seeing you or NGing those white lights. So go hit up 100 Concepts. Go hit up 100 Concepts. We have a discount code.
15% off 100 Concepts products, light caps, hex caps, all that stuff. Need to make hex caps for our eyes. All right, on with the show. Let's get out of here. But what makes these filters and masks legit or not? That's the question. And we have to talk about this weird thing called NIOSH. NIOSH is a part of the CDC that the DoD and other government agencies use to certify that products are good to use for CBRN. A NIOSH certification is the highest standard that a gas mask or a filter can be held to. And it's not a one and done test. Just because you pass or you get a certification one time doesn't mean that that product is good to go for life. These companies, these products have to pass surprise random audits throughout the year. So what that looks like is NIOSH comes in, they collect a huge swath of filters and masks, and those products have to pass the test basically on the spot. Now, there is only one company who is NIOSH approved for products that are available to civilians and have been for decades, and that's Avon Protection, who has been doing this since World War II, who, due to recent civilian interest in their products, have opened up sales to the general public to meet the needs of the prepared citizen. Now, other companies like Draeger and 3M Scott Safety, they do pass NIOSH requirements, but their products are a little bit harder to come by for the average Joe. Now, does that mean products from Mira and other popular gas mask companies like Parcel Safety are not legit? Are they snake oil? No, not necessarily, absolutely not. Those products can still be legit. It's just important to note here that they do not have to pass the same rigorous audits and inspections and NIOSH certification that Avon masks do. And Avon masks are made in the US, whereas the other masks and filters are made throughout the world. Mira and Parcel products are widely in use around the world in austere environments, but they only pass a CE, EN, or ABEX certification, which is a European standard for industrial and chemical equipment that does not require regular audits. So if they pass once, they're approved. There's no audit for ongoing production and no oversight and regulation that continues on. Now, does that mean that their products aren't tested? No, it's actually in those companies' best interest to test their own products and make sure that they're up to snuff. So I would hope that their quality control is still good to go, but the point is that there's no one really overseeing it or holding them accountable like NIOSH does for Avon. So this brings us back to what is legit and what is not. Well, they're probably all legit, but Avon is simply held to the highest standard and always wins, which is why they're a bit more expensive. But I will say, I would feel confident in using just about any of those products that we're going to show you today. It's just that Avon kind of takes the cake in terms of what is most legit and is guaranteed every time.
That was legitness.
So in order to actually get this onto your face, we want to start with removing all of the hiccups that could get in the way. And that means pulling your straps and the little shroud that goes on the back of your head forward of the mask. This makes the mask and the faceplate free from obstructions. To begin, I want to put this onto my chin. That's your first contact in that little chin cup. And then I'm gonna roll this up onto my forehead, keeping pressure with one of my hands pinned to my face. From there, I'm going to tighten my straps one at a time. And then once that is tight, I'm going to expel as much air that is in my lungs as possible. If you can, before you ever put this on, you wanna take that big deep breath so that you have something to expel, because I might be trapping gas and chemicals inside of my mask. The beauty is you can push that out with a large exhale, and then you're going to want to ensure that you have negative pressure in here. Here's what that means. I will be placing my hand over the front of the filter. If you have two filters, you'll have to do it with both, and gently inhale. You're going to want to see that mask collapse gently towards you to ensure that it does have an airtight seal. Hold that for 10 seconds, as it says. I don't necessarily find that 10 seconds is necessary, but hold that to ensure that there's no leakage or seepage on your mask. Tighten your straps if you do find that to be the case. Once you ensure that there is negative pressure, you can breathe freely, but you're gonna want to then hold your breath again and swap to a brand new fresh filter that has been stored and stowed. Taking the time to pull this off while holding your breath, putting a new filter on, and then you're gonna wanna ensure that you have negative pressure again. So you're gonna run that test, make sure that the mask collapses on you. Finally, you are clear to breathe freely.
Whoa, hold up, but what if you have a beard? Can you get a proper seal? Man, if you post a picture of yourself in a gas mask and you have even the slightest amount of stubble, the CBRN guys are gonna swoop in and tell you how you're gonna immediately die. And yet at the same time, I personally have friends that have massive beards who have ran this kind of stuff in austere environments professionally who never had any issue whatsoever. So this is like a gray area, and there's a lot of nuance in regards to beards and proper seals of gas masks. And it really comes down to two things: the size of your beard and the size of the particulate that you're trying to defeat. See, when you have a beard, it's basically creating a mesh, especially when you push it down, you have a mesh of hair, kind of creating like a chain link fence, right? Which is all fine and dandy, but if that particulate is small enough to get through that mesh, then you're gonna have a problem. Now, with CS gas, CS is a large particulate, so it's kind of like trying to throw a basketball through a chain link fence. It's gonna be very difficult for CS to get in, even if you have a beard. Not impossible though. Hydrogen chloride, on the other hand, is an extremely tiny particulate. It's like throwing sand through that same chain link fence.
I don't like sand.
So it all comes down to how big is your beard and what is actually, going to be in the area that's going to kill you. Now, the other thing to consider is this. That mesh of beard that you have, anytime you move or jostle or go to like pull up your rifle and it pushes against it, that mesh is also moving. So even something like CS can still get through even the tightest mesh of beards. So it's just something to consider. Now, please note, we are not CBRN experts, but we have talked to plenty of CBRN experts, and they will tell you flat out, clean shaven is the only way to guarantee that you're gonna get a proper seal. And it's right, Avon, Mira, all those companies would tell you the same thing, but it doesn't mean that beards are going to compromise you 100% of the time. It depends on the gas and your beard and if you get lucky or not. Now, what about Vaseline? Because that's something a lot of people say, like, oh, I just smear tons of Vaseline all over my beard and then I get a proper seal. Can it work? Yeah, it can work, but here's one thing to consider. Once you get all this sticky goo of Vaseline all over your beard, all of a sudden your mask is going to want to slide around more. The goo works up into your beard, and then that perfect little chin weld you have can move, slip. If it gets bumped, it's more likely to move. And also, decon becomes a problem. And a lot of CBRN guys will tell you this, that decon is where the mistakes happen the most. Actually cleaning yourself off after you are out of this environment is where a lot of people end up catching something where they die. So when you actually take off a mask with a ton of Vaseline, it has attracted all these little particles. So let's say, for example, there was CS. Well, it would be all stuck in the Vaseline, or sarin, all stuck in the Vaseline. Whatever the agent is, whatever the chemical is that's been in the air, it's going to be then matted to your beard. And because all that goo moves around, it could just work its way up into your mask and then you're breathing it.
Marvin, sarin is a GPS. That is correct.
Well, hold on. Some of you guys may be wondering about house fires or car fires. There's two problems with that. Let's take house fires for a moment. What does it take for a fire to actually burn? Well, it needs oxygen, which means it's removing oxygen from the air, which means that you're not getting the oxygen that you need. So could it be filtering out some of the smoke? Maybe, yeah, but you still are not getting the oxygen that your body is calling for. Additionally, when a home or a car burns, it's letting off not just smoke, it's putting out tons of chemicals into the air. Batteries, appliances, all sorts of stuff can actually be dispersed into particles, and you need to ensure that you actually have the right filter. So fires might work with filters and gas masks, but to be honest, something like this still might do the exact same job.
Which is a great reminder that this sort of equipment is for escaping a situation. You're not a raider, you're not going on some DA mission where there might be chemical agents. For the average everyday person like you and me, these things are used to get out of a situation. Gas is an area denial tool. For all you gamers out there, it's an AOE effect, an area of effect. And you want to get out of that as quickly as possible. Gas masks are not something you want to live in. But speaking of living in gas masks, a lot of you may be thinking, well, what about nuclear fallout? What if the bombs drop? What if there's a Chernobyl here in America, or whatever it may be? If your plan for that is gas masks and that's it, you're gonna die. Because you cannot possibly have enough filters to constantly be swapping them out to filter out all the radiological particulates in the air. And keep in mind, like, everything else is going to be affected. The water, the animals, the plants, everything you eat. So unless you have some underground lead-lined shelter with 10 years worth of food and water and its own internal air filtration, the gas mask is not going to save you. This is not something you live in. But let's talk about water for a second, because there is a cool way to set these up with water.
A lot of companies have actually designed ways that you can drink water while wearing your gas mask. So Drew here is gonna demo, but your mask, as you'll see here on the front, has a hose.
Bros before hose.
You can unplug that hose from the front, uncoil all the way around the mouthpiece, and now you have a hose that has a negative disconnect so that no air is getting through. You're gonna want to source, we got these from Cana Provisions, but you can find these on eBay or some other surplus stores, lids and caps that will go onto either a canteen style bottle or a narrow mouth Nalgene. These have a cap that can be disconnected from the top. And then Drew here, for example, is going to plug his hose down into the cap of the bottle. Nice, that will make a good seal. And then when he upends, oh, wait a minute, first and foremost, yeah, he's got to flip this little piece on the front end, and that will turn the hose that is inside of your gas mask down towards the front, and you can find it with your lips, upend your canteen. You can actually drink water through your gas mask. Now, finding all those little parts and pieces, putting your hose away is gonna take just a little bit of practice. Obviously, it's not a big tool, so you're not gonna get lost on there, but knowing how to drink water and that you can is a huge win. You just need to buy a small cap and the appropriate bottle for it.
These M17A1 drinking tubes are designed to work perfectly with your canteen and your mask.
The lid on my canteen.
Watch your mouth. I got another one for you right there.
The hydration tube is busted, Staff Sergeant. We're gonna die of dehydration.
No, we're not gonna die. It's cool.
Staff Sergeant, my drinking tube fell off in the gas chamber at Pendleton. It's been 4 months. I still don't have a new one.
If you want to make extra sure that your gas mask and the filters are fitted and sealed appropriately, NIOSH actually uses banana oil in conjunction with tens of thousands of dollars worth of machinery to ensure that no smell or particulates are getting through what should be a perfect seal. If you want to save some money at home and not go buy tens of thousands of dollars worth of machinery, what you can do is just buy simple banana oil off Amazon like we did. Get a cloth or something to actually put that onto, go into an enclosed space. We're gonna use Steve's cab of this car to actually prove that no airflow is messing this test up. And then Drew is going to sit down after I've put this onto a rag. And then if he moves his head and neck around and can smell any of this, we know that there is a breakage somewhere in there. Sorry, Steve. Well, the car's gonna smell a lot like banana oil because I just spelled ounces of this stuff. This may be unnecessary, but let's set that up there. All right, Drew, hop on in.
Stop hitting yourself. I think we're good. Sweet. Oh, I've got a beard.
So after you escape the gas, the game is not over. You still have particulates on you from head to toe, and you got to clean all that off. Remember, decontamination is where most people mess up and actually end up getting this stuff inside their body. So if you don't have any more Rad-X, if you're completely out of Rad-Away, what can you do at home? Well, there's one thing to remember. Actual decontamination done by professionals is done by a team. It is not a solo job, and neither Avon or any other company in this industry would recommend you handle this by yourself. I recommend that you actually go out and do your own research and watch a bunch of videos, which we will link in the description, of how people do this at home. But basically, you need a lot of Dawn dish soap. You need to wash your suit and your clothes after you've stepped into an already running shower. You scrub everything 3 to 4 times, cut your clothes off, scrub your body 3 to 4 times, scrub your hair, and then ultimately shave your head. That's the official recommendation. Now, CS, something like CS is not gonna kill you, but you also don't wanna be tracking that stuff in where your kids can breathe it into your own home, especially if any of your family has respiratory issues already. That's when CS could really start to become a problem. But if you're coming into contact with nerve agents and crazy stuff like that, then decontamination cannot be an afterthought, and you have to go above and beyond to make sure you get yourself clean.
It's a man up!
You can build your own, but we didn't want to include a shower scene in our videos, so just go and check out that link in the description.
Who asked you to be so nosy?
Now, some of you guys have probably already recognized that comms, or simply communicating with gas masks, can be a struggle, and there's a few solutions for that. So number one is ensuring that you guys do have hand and arm signals pre-established, just because when someone tries to talk,
It's kind of hard to hear, and if there's anything else going on around you, your muffled voice is now competing with your environment, and
Yeah.
it kind of sucks.
Exactly. Now, one solution is that a handful of different companies, but Avon specifically on this mask, makes...
I call it a Vox box. We'll put what it's called down, where you're looking right now. Basically, it just plugs onto the front of just about any Avon mask. You put a battery in it, and you turn it on. So now all of a sudden you can hear me a lot better. The problem with these, at least with Avon, is these are not available to the public, not because there's some restriction, but just it's not a popular enough item yet to where it's worth putting out there for civilians. So I had to go and buy this on eBay for about 150 bucks, which is a lot of money to spend, like, let's be real. So when you buy this piece, it also
Comes with a little box right here, a little gray and black piece that you attach to the interior of the mask. And now you have a little Vox box so people can hear you.
Well, let's say you're running radios and stuff. What can you do? Or you don't want to buy one of these fancy Vox boxes. Well, you're going to want to set your helmet up to where you've resized your chin straps to actually go underneath all of this and not put any weird kind of pressure on your mask to break your seal, which Josh has already done here. And then it's not a fancy setup, but you're basically just going to pull your ears down and run your mic to the front of your mask where this little diaphragm is. So it's still going to be hard to hear, but it does work and you can hear and talk and you're good to go.
Shooting with a gas mask is very different than shooting with just a helmet or a plate carrier. And the reason is because you have a lot of rubber and plastic mounted to your face. Now, so a common question is, can you actually get your mask down low enough on your stock to see through a standard height optic? It can be done, but you're going to find yourself canting that gun inward in order to still get a sight picture. So one solution is obviously to raise your optic, whether you're putting a riser under a red dot or you're mounting a Delta Point Pro or any pistol dot on top of something else. 45-degree offsets can help a little bit because you're still naturally canting that gun, but the best solution is to still raise your optic up. Now, another option is to get a Viz laser out on the front of your gun. And that is possible, that does help, but on sunny days like today, it's not 100% guaranteed. So if you are trying to set up a gun for night vision and gas mask and all that stuff, you're gonna find a riser under a red dot to probably be the best solution. All right, the next thing to note is the filters themselves. So both of these masks are FM50s, but you'll notice that on Steve's, he's only running one filter. You're gonna have a little bit less airflow, but if you are shooting, you can cap it off on this side, not required, but it actually protects the location where your filter goes on. And then you don't have a big piece of plastic sitting on the right side as a right-handed shooter where you're trying to get your face down to your stock. So you can get a little bit finicky and picky on how well your mask is actually going to run with a gun. But once again, going back to the masks themselves, different lenses and how the mask is actually designed is going to play a big role in how hard or difficult it's going to be to see through your optic and your field of view. For example, some Mira masks, just the way that they're designed, are going to have distortion on the edges of that glass or plastic that you're looking through. Whereas, at least in our testing, these Avon masks, the lenses on the front side give you a crystal clear field of view, and they don't diminish your ability to see through really at all.
So on to the test.
This is where the fun begins.
We picked up some over-the-counter CS spray from Amazon. The first thing we want to try though is if we were to round the corner of a street in Portland and there is CS gas everywhere and we're caught in it, if we have all of our vents off and no air conditioning running, are we still going to feel the effects, or do we need a gas mask then? Nick has a good theory. He thinks we will still experience some symptoms because he can smell skunks through his car whenever he's driving, even with everything turned off. So I guess we will find out. Josh is running the C50 with a
CTC F50 filter, which is designed for riot control.
And I'm wearing nothing, so I will notice immediately if there's anything coming through. And I've never been gassed before, so here we go. I got nothing so far. I can't tell if this is like a placebo effect.
Hang in there, Drew. So we got no air running in the car.
No air.
Elevated heart rate over here.
Yeah.
All right, he just sprayed all 30 seconds of that gas.
We're gonna let it sit for a bit.
Yep, just give it a moment.
I'm getting it a little bit.
Are you really?
I'm getting a twinge of it, but it's not bad.
I got nothing.
I think if we were driving through it, just the natural airflow, I'm feeling it behind my eyes right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not bad.
Starting to kick in some. All right, we're at about a minute. How you doing?
It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm feeling it a little bit though. There's definitely some particulates coming through.
Sure.
If I had a little kid in the car, if like one of my daughters had a respiratory issue, I would be wanting to get out of here as quickly as possible.
Sure. I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's not bad though. Can you believe?
I could totally drive through this.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No.
But let's go ahead and pull out.
What did he say?
And see if we get any airflow that's caught in there. It's just enough to kind of be nice.
It tickles.
Like
it's honestly, you want to know what it feels like? It feels like taking a whiff of smelling salts.
Let's turn it on and see if what's in there goes towards us.
You crank that up high. Still nothing any stronger than typical.
We don't have this on internal filtration. It is actually sucking air from the outside and pushing in now.
Right. Actually,
it's getting better.
That airflow is nice. It feels better with some airflow.
Okay, let's back it back up and do it with the air running.
All right, so I'll do our negative pressure test.
I can't do a...
Oh yeah. So I'm running the FM50 with the Bulldog filters. Josh has the NH15 escape hood. And Jacob back here is also running the Bulldog filters on his FM50. So we're gonna turn the air on so it's running this time, actually sucking in air from the outside and blowing it towards us. If we were driving, it would be even more exaggerated or exacerbated, whichever one you want to call it. Nope, nothing so far.
Nope.
I think we're gonna be fine.
Me too.
Until we take these off, and then we see what it feels like in here.
Right.
Jacob, how you doing?
Doing right now.
Yeah.
All right. So far, so good. All right. I'm good.
I'm good too.
Nothing. All right, you want me to peel mine?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. I'll just pretend like I don't have a good seal. Yep.
That bad?
Dude, even just a slight break in the seal.
All right.
Ah, dude, this sucks. This was a mistake.
All right, I'm gonna break my seal just a little bit.
Oh, dude, no. Oh, no. This is not good. Oh, Jacob, I think we ruined your van, bro. Yeah. Air conditioning was a bad choice.
All right, hold on. I'm trying to see if I can fix just by breathing through the filters. Put it back on and clear it. Come on, Drew. Yeah, it's still bad.
It's just, I'm good now. Oh, the residual effects suck.
Jacob, you're still just hanging out back there.
Oh, it burnt. Okay, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. You can do it. Take a deep breath in your nose now. Now take a deep breath with your eyes. Oh yeah. Yep. That'll do it.
Okay. All right.
So having a filter, a gas mask that you can add on afterward, holy cow, is
it does keep it from getting worse.
Yes, and you can definitely clear the system afterward. Obviously, exhale all the bad stuff and start getting some fresh air.
I got boogers. So these little caps that you can get to go on the top of water bottles actually clean your eyes out really fast. Like the moment I sprayed my eyes, pretty much good to go. Why are you laughing at me?
She said, I'm pretty much good to go.
The car aired out really fast. This time I'm going to be running the Mira 8M, I think it's called, with a particulate filter. This is not for CS or OC. So we're going to try to keep this on as long as possible and then do a swap to an actual OC one, which this one is the Pecan C from Mira.
And I'll be kind of doing the same thing. I'll be doing a CFP 100 particulate filter from Avon, and then I'm going to swap to a CBRN CF50, and we'll see how that does afterward.
Just remember, normally you would want these sealed, but we just opened them up and, you know, we're cheating so we don't have to blow another, you know, $100-something bucks on filters.
Oh, I'm getting something, dude.
I'm getting something, but I don't know if it's just the old car.
Nope.
Is it not? Steve, you getting anything?
Steve's good.
Oh yeah, Steve has an actual filter on. I'm getting a little bit, but it's not.
So here's the thing. I smell it. I don't have the effects.
Yep, it's probably catching a lot of those particles because CS is a larger particle.
Right.
Well, I'm already pleasantly surprised. This is kind of wild.
This is. These particulates are doing a pretty good job. Granted, we're inside a car and there's a filter, which is the car. Should we roll our windows down and see if that does anything to these particulates?
Yeah, let's do it because it's not happening.
No, you're good, man.
I got nothing, man.
Yeah. All right, let's drop these filters and see if we get anything inside while we do.
All right. Nothing, but I don't smell it anymore.
Same, I don't smell it either. I'm good to go. All right, well then, we got the windows down. Should we rip these masks off and drive forward a little bit?
Yep.
In theory, we think we're good.
Yep. Yep.
Go. Drive forward.
Yep. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, it was definitely there all along. Oh. Oh, I got a lot that time. Yeah. Uh-huh. That'll do it. Uh-huh.
The particulate filters definitely kept some of the effects out. You can smell it for sure. I wouldn't want to be sprayed in the face while wearing a particulate filter, but it does remove a lot of the effects, especially when you have another filtration system like a car or maybe a home AC unit. It's sure better than nothing. Swapping over to something bigger is obviously going to work just fine. If you think you've driven through a cloud like that, rolling the windows down and trying to drive, it's just going to pick up a bunch of wind. Thank you. It's going to pick up a bunch of wind and pull those particulates off the car and into the car for sure.
So the canisters that cops and law enforcement would normally use are called tri-chambers. They're much beefier, way more intense versions of this. The gas is still the same, but you're gonna have a huge plume of inescapable smoke. So just to do our due diligence, we're gonna set this thing off in the car, which we know that is not entirely realistic, but to make it harder on ourselves since we don't have that massive plume of smoke to go through, that's what we're gonna do. We don't wanna get Jacob's van completely caked with OC, which is sticky, but the OC and CS, we're just gonna point it down into this and let her rip. Josh, what are you wearing?
CM7M from Mira, and then I have a CSOC canister on the front.
We got Steve in the back with an Avon mask with just a particulate filter. We're gonna see if being encased in all this stuff, his particulate filter still works. But he also has a Riot one that he can swap to. For me, I'm just wearing the NH15 escape hood, and at some point I'm gonna take it off because for science. Nick is shaking his head no. Okay, boys. You just push and hold?
Push until it clicks in.
Pin it all the way down.
Okay.
Yeah, all the way down.
Yeah, it's about 30.
Okay. Let's just sit here for Oh!
Well, it's all over my hand. Dude, look at the roof of the car.
Yeah. How did that happen? Oh gosh.
Why would you do that?
I didn't know it was gonna do that. How are you doing?
I can smell it.
But no effects? Even with just a particulate filter?
Can you swap filters?
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Well, my hand is
Yeah, my hand is stinging.
yeah.
Good to go?
How's that feeling? Okay.
Okay.
Your hood all right?
My hood's good.
I will say I'm genuinely impressed with these NH15s just because, okay, like if I had my kids in the car, there's no way in heck that they would wear a mask. Like they would be screaming hell's bells and we'd have to basically tie their arms down to keep it on their head. But this, they'd be way more likely to throw on over their head. I wonder if this like thing right here is actually tight enough to go around their neck. But this is something I would absolutely use for like my family. And then I'll get the cool one with the Bulldog filters. Stephen, Jacob, and Nick have been awesome today, and they want to reward themselves by punishing us. So me and Josh are gonna go no mask. This is completely unrealistic, but you know, screw it.
Well, it's a little bit realistic because once we can't take it anymore, we're gonna put masks on and see if we can use the filters to clear some of that crap.
Oh, this one was a dud? Or what if we built up an immunity to it?
Dude, that would be awesome. We should try that.
Nope, that's not it. Are you feeling something?
I am. I don't have a good seal.
Try and fix your seal. I'm trying not to breathe, but I have to breathe. I got a bit. I'm done. I'm done. All right, one last one for fun. I'm gonna be using just a standard little particulate filter that I picked up for like $15 from 3M. It's not supposed to work. Let's see if it does.
And I've got the OpsCore Soda, the Special Operations Tactical Respirator. This is not rated for CS either, it's just rated for particulates, so we'll see what happens.
And then Josh.
My stuff is all rated for CS. I have had a good seal all day, but what I'm curious about is if I have Vaseline all over my chin, after this mask comes off, if I can sense any CS still on my face where that Vaseline, I did pull it down a little bit further than where my mask is, I will taste the Vaseline afterward and we'll see if I actually have any residual OC and CS.
Oh yeah, my eyes are getting it. Oh, yep, I'm definitely getting some lung issues, but nothing major. Oh yeah. You okay? I got a little bit in my lungs, but not a lot. I got a little in my lungs. Yep, I'm feeling it. This did not do a bad job, to be honest.
Yep, the eyes definitely got it, but it doesn't hurt as much as it just like constricts everything and you can't focus on what you're trying to do. But lungs are fine, bro.
My lungs are all right, my eyes are not.
I'm fine, thanks for asking.
Steve, how you doing?
I'm great.
Okay, I will say I have a sharp burning sensation just around where the Vaseline is. Well guys, we've tried to relay as much information to you guys as possible and make it fun as well. We, again, made the video that we wish other people had made for us, and we learned a lot in the process too. We have to also give a big thank you to the Avon engineers who took time, hours and hours over Skype, teaching us about this stuff, and we could just ask questions. So we are not the experts. Sorry.
We're not the experts, so go ask somebody else for further questions, or find some buddies that are, you know, they actually work within the CBRN field. Another important thing to note is now that you've consumed all this information, what do you do with it? Well, beyond assessing your needs, like if you're living in a city, you might want to consider picking up some stuff that can combat CS or OC spray. If you live out in the middle of nowhere, but there's a steel plant nearby, or a nuclear reactor for that matter,
or even food manufacturing around where you are, they're using some pretty serious chemicals. What did they use around steel mills and steel manufacturing?
I think steel is cyanide.
Do you know what it does to you? Hydrogen cyanide.
And just a lot of other like blistering agents. And then also there's a lot of industries that use ammonia and other like hazardous waste. On top of that, like all this stuff is transported in tankers on the highway. I mean, it wasn't too long ago in Nashville, there was a hazardous spill, a CBRN like hazardous spill And people were just driving through it like it was nothing, which is kind of crazy to think about. So research your area, make a wise decision. As far as the masks go, in this demonstration, every single one of them worked. In fact, they all worked better than expected. Just remember that the NIOSH rating is, or the NIOSH certification is the highest possible standard. So when it comes to this stuff, if you ever have to use it, you want it to work. This is one of those items I would not cheap out on. And I didn't cheap out. Like I've bought some cheaper ones and they worked well today. I bought a really fancy one, it worked well today. But if it was anything like truly bad, because this stuff was not bad at all, really. It's the stuff that, it's like sarin that you can't see, it's odorless, it's tasteless. It's that kind of stuff that is truly awful and will kill you. And I'm not going to go a budget route whenever it comes to stuff like that. No.
Look, how big this is? You want me to stick this into my heart?
So thank you guys. Also thank you to our Patreon subscribers. If you want early access to all of our content, as well as a little bit of behind the scenes, which I'm sure there'll be a lot for this one, you should hit up Patreon. We really appreciate it. They keep us going. And Jacob, Steve, Jacob from Centurion, Steve from Ripcord, and of course, the one and only behind the camera, Nicholas Jones, who wore a gas mask throughout this whole thing, all the filming, and never complained once because he had a proper seal. So thanks guys, take care. I don't know why you thought it was gonna be funny, Nick. That was a bad call.
I was joking.